Hello, my name is Isaiah Goodman, and come here to talk to you about the current state of Team Fortress 2, which is a game that I personally really enjoy. Now, Team Fortress 2 is a first-person shooter created by Valve on October 10th of 2007. This makes the game over 15 years old, which is tremendous for any game to not only live for this long, but to thrive for this long, because currently, according to Steam charts, within the last 30 days, it has been observed that there are over 90,000 players playing Team Fortress 2. This is the core reasons for why it survived so long is because, first of all, it's a very whimsical, happy, enjoyable game that doesn't really take itself too seriously. But the main reason why it has existed for so long is because Valve put a lot of time and care into it, updating the game where it needs. It They wish to support the player's needs by if a weapon was broken or if it didn't work very well, they buffed it or nerfed it. Now, this is true up until about 2017, which was around the time of the Jungle Inferno update. Valve started to go silent about T Fortress 2. Well, this has led to a very sad downhill spiral for the game, and one of the biggest problems that come with it is the bot crisis. Now, TF2's bot crisis all started around the time of the pandemic, the 2020 pandemic, when hackers managed to get access to Team Fortress 2's source code. This allowed them to create bots. Bots are normally used for uh, filling in for whenever players are unable to, but so that other players can have fun. But the problem is that hackers were able to program these bots that would essentially ruin games for everyone. They would do this by the way of mic spam, playing obnoxiously loud music or obnoxiously loud noises while they were trying to play. In addition to spamming the text chat, this is mostly done through homophobic or racial slurs, which really shows you how immature people are. But normally people would think that they can just mute these chats, but the problem is that these bots were also built in with hacks to automatically kill people whenever they were hit by them, and they could automatically lock on to their targets. I don't really need to explain why that would be terrible for a first-person shooter. And for the longest time, Valve decided to do nothing about it. They didn't even bring it up. They did eventually bring it up. But the problem is that it actually hurt players who didn't want to pay any money on the game. Because if you were a free-to-play player, it banned your ability to use the voice chat, the text chat, and you were unable to send friend requests to people over Team Fortress 2. And this could be solved through paying $5 to Valve, which this just caused a major problem. It was very difficult for new players to get into the game because first of all, you were unable to essentially talk to people inside of a team building first person shooter game. But in addition, you were swamped with all of these bots that would instantly kill you and just ruin your ability to have fun. But the bot crisis isn't the only problem with Valve, as whenever they do update the game, which is very rare, they put not a lot of effort into the game. Now, normally, whenever they release updates that add new cosmetics to the game, uh, it's normally for seasonal events like Easter, summer, uh, Halloween, and Christmas. But the problem is that all of these cosmetics feel very bland nowadays. Before, back in 2017 during the Jungle Inferno update, we got a tremendous amount of cosmetics. We even got new weapons and items. But nowadays, all we get are hats that are rehashes of previous hats. And even worse is occasionally they will add in maps, and these maps are broken or virtually unplayable. Now, to give you an example to show that I'm not just being anal about new hats. I'm comparing a new hat called the Seasonal Sprig to a hat from the Jungle Inferno update, which is the Feathered Fiend. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot more effort was put into the Feathered Fiend back in 2017 than this spirally Christmas hat. Which is fine, which is fine. Hats are not important to the game gameplay wise, but this is one of the new maps that was introduced for the winter rotational maps. This one is called Whatville. Now, as you can see by the numbers here, this shows how the train that you were supposed to ride would traverse through the level. The problem is look at all these sight lines where snipers would be able to get you from any point. There was actually, at certain points, they could get you as soon as you got out of spawn, making this map was virtually unplayable, not only for such as that, but also size. This was a giant empty map, so you would have to spend half your time playing just trying to get to your destination, only to die and then try to come back and do it all over again. There was also a bunch of areas where there were invisible floating platforms where you could stand on, and it was a terrible map that should not have been added in. In addition, this was one of the other newer maps called Bread Space. Hilarious name, but as I mentioned with snipers, look at this sight line. You can pretty much get anyone from halfway across the map as they're trying to traverse the freaking marathon that it takes to get up there. It's it's horrible. It's just a terrible map to play because you spend half the time trying to get to where you're trying to go, and then you just get sniped in the head halfway there. Luckily, though, there is a saving grace, and that comes in the form of Save TF2, which is a peaceful protest that occurred on May 26th. Now, Save TF2 was essentially a bunch of content creators and just random fans who love the game, some since day one, others just recent. They came and wanted to peacefully protest to Valve that they cared about the game and Valve was not. And that Valve needed to do something about their game because their game was broken. Their game was not fun anymore. Thankfully, though, this campaign actually worked. Valve saw it. They said that they accepted it. They said that they still love their game and they are trying to get their they're trying to fix it. They're trying to make it back to the glory days of what it once was. And yes, we've gotten a few updates since then, but sadly, the future of TF2 is kind of dark. Uh, Even though they managed to fix the bots inside of the Save TF2 update, sadly the bots are back, and Valve is starting to go silent again. I feel like, but we've seen what Save TF2. Save TF2 managed to get over 16,000 players to rejoin it just in the month, because it had been recently declining, but they managed to get 16,000 players with the update of Save that they did in coalition with Save TF2. That shows that if Valve puts effort into their game, that they've spent so much time trying to create and perfect, they can fix it. They can make it better. They can make it fun again. But Valve needs to put through the effort. They need to they need to fix their game. And yes, while I understand that there's time the there's a time where you need to move on to bigger projects. But it's respectful to their community to fix the game that they love so much, the game that has brought so many people together and has helped so many people through tough times. It is respectful of Valve to fix the game that has made them succeed. And thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Uh, I hope that it was meaningful, and I really hope that you will help the cause. Thank you.